The golden years are often sold as a sunset. It is described as a gentle fading of light where you finally rest while others carry the torch. For Eleanor Vance, it felt more like an eclipse. The house in the quiet suburbs of Connecticut, once filled with the chaotic music of growing children, had become a hollow shell of echoes. Eleanor's life had become a series of subtractions. It did not happen all at once. It started with loans that were never repaid. Her eldest son, Marcus, was a man whose ambition always outpaced his ethics. He would drop by with stories of missed commissions and temporary cash flow issues. Then came Sarah, her youngest daughter. Sarah viewed the refrigerator as an extension of the local grocery store. "You're not using this roast, Mom, are you?" Sarah would say this while sliding the expensive cut of meat into her designer handbag. Her own kids waited in the idling SUV outside. Eleanor was fueled by a mother's instinct to provide. She said nothing. She watched her savings account dwindle to 3 digits. She and her late husband Arthur had built that account over 40 years of middle-class toil. She watched her pantry grow bare. She survived on tea and toast so that Marcus could keep his country club membership. She sacrificed so that Sarah could keep her children in private tutoring. They mistook her silence for senility. They mistook her sacrifice for a lack of options. They thought she was breaking. The turning point. The breaking point arrived on a Tuesday. Marcus had come by to ask for $5,000 to cover a legal retainer. When Eleanor gently explained that there was nothing left to give, his face did not soften with guilt. It hardened with entitlement instead. "You are being selfish, Mom," he snapped. "You are sitting on a gold mine in this house and you will not even help your own blood? What are you saving it for? You are 72 years old. There is no someday left for you." After he slammed the door, Eleanor sat in the dark. She looked at the cabinet in the hallway. It was filled with the Someday collection. She saw the pristine Victorian tea set passed down from her grandmother. She saw the rare first edition books Arthur had hunted for in European stalls. She saw the heavy, solid gold jewelry that was supposed to be her safety net. She saw the vintage mahogany furniture that was too good to use every day. She realized Marcus was right about one thing. Someday was an illusion, but he was wrong about everything else. She was not saving these things for a future that might never come. She was clinging to them while she starved in the present. The Great Liquidation. Eleanor did not cry. Instead, she made a phone call to an old friend in the estate sale business. For the next 3 weeks, while her children were busy with their own lives, Eleanor turned her home into a quiet marketplace. She sold the heavy oak table, she sold the silver, she sold the diamond brooch that Sarah had already claimed in her mind for her own daughter's wedding. She did not just sell things, she sold the weight of expectations. Each item that left the house felt like a pound of pressure lifted from her chest. With the proceeds, Eleanor did the unthinkable. She invested in herself. First, she changed the locks. Second, she filled her pantry with the finest organic greens and fresh fish and artisanal breads. Third, she hired a gardener to restore the rose beds Marcus had let go to seed. Finally, she booked a month-long retreat to a seaside cottage she had dreamt of visiting since 1985. The confrontation. A month later, Marcus and Sarah arrived together. They had not called because they never did. They simply expected to walk in and complain about their lives and leave with whatever they could carry. Marcus reached for his key, but it would not turn. He pounded on the door. "Mom, the lock is stuck," he shouted. The door opened. Eleanor stood there wearing a silk wrap she had bought with the money from the Victorian tea set. Her skin looked radiant. She had lost the old woman's slouch they were used to seeing. She smelled of expensive lavender and looked rested. "The locks are not stuck, Marcus," she said calmly. "I changed them myself." They pushed past her into the living room but stopped dead. The room was transformed. It was airy and minimal and filled with light. The heavy, dark furniture they expected to inherit was gone. In its place was a comfortable modern chaise and a small table set with a feast of fresh fruit and cheeses and a bottle of chilled wine. "Where is the silver?" Sarah gasped. Her eyes darted to the empty hutch. "Where is the jewelry from Grandma?" "Sold," Eleanor said, while taking a sip of wine. "I realized I could not eat silver. I could not pay for my peace of mind with memories, so I traded the past for a very comfortable present." "You sold our inheritance," Marcus yelled. His face turned a mottled red. "That was our money." "No," Eleanor replied. Her voice was steady and cold as a mountain stream. "That was my life. For the first time in 10 years, I am living it. You thought I would break under the weight of your needs. You thought I was a resource to be mined." She stepped toward the door and held it open. "I am no longer a bank, and I am no longer a pantry. I am a woman who has reclaimed her dignity. If you want to see me, then come for tea, but bring your own biscuits. I am done feeding those who do not know how to say thank you." The aftermath. Their confidence did not just waver, it shattered completely. They looked at their mother and realized they no longer held the power. The weak woman who had lived on tea and crumbs was gone. In her place was someone they did not recognize. This was someone who loved herself as much as she had once loved them. Eleanor watched them walk down the driveway. They were bickering with each other. Their shadows were long in the afternoon sun. She did not feel lonely. She went back inside and picked up a book she actually wanted to read. She enjoyed the silence of a house that finally felt like a home again. She had not just built a new life, she had saved her own.